shameful, embarrassing. That is the claims being made tonight about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, about Manchester United Football Club. Ruben Amorim has had a torrid time to his life so far at Manchester United, especially in the league. But next Wednesday in Bilbao is an opportunity to end the season with a bit of a celebration, with a little bit of pride, to generate some additional money, to hopefully help improve the squad next season. But more shame tonight, according to a lot of United fans, the mainstream media, and rivals. Manchester United are being shamed here, and I want to get your opinion on this. Now, I want to give you a little bit of background to this story before we go any further, but hit the like and the share button. Please read the article. It's so important that you read the article, because part of me is fuming and another part of me is asking questions. And I've got a problem with the article as well, and I'll explain why. So the way it was aggregated is that Manchester United have refused to pay for the families of its staff members to go to the game. And I thought to myself, well, is that normal? Is it normal for a club to pay? We have about 700 employees, to pay for 700 employees to go to a final abroad. So if it's a family, a husband, 2 kids, is it normal to buy them all a ticket and to accommodate them and fly them out to Spain or wherever the final may be? I'm not too sure. Well, I felt a bit excessive. And then you start reading more and you realize actually it's the backroom staff at Manchester United. I think, hang on a minute. What, the physios, the coaches? What do you mean they haven't got a ticket for the game? And that is the first part I read, which is Ruben Amorim has paid for his 30 Manchester United backroom staff to take their families to next week's Europa League final, after being told by the clubs that his coaches, physios, and support teams would have to pay for their own tickets, sources have said. And then I realized what it meant. Man United are not giving free tickets to the family of the backroom staff. The players are getting 2 free tickets each, and that is it. Everybody else has to buy tickets. And so I went from feeling that the article was a little poor to thinking to myself, that feels a bit harsh. That feels very, very harsh to me. Then I'm thinking, I read through the article, and the one thing that I saw is that, hang on a minute, you know, you've seen Paris Saint-Germain confirm last week that it would pay for 600 members of its staff to attend the game, the final. And that will mean accommodation and travel, I'm sure. So forget the club for a minute. Man United are pretty much broke. We've got barely any spare money. So I get them not forking, the club not spending for 700 members of staff to go. I get it. He's a billionaire, though. He could very easily, very, very easily afford to do this. Very, very easily. No doubt about it whatsoever, he could afford it. On top of that, if it's just the 30 members of backroom staff, again, he could make the gesture and say, do you know what? The club can't afford it, but you guys have done well to get us here. You're an important part of the backroom team. We will pay for the tickets for your family. This, for me, is just tight-fisted, shameful, and almost a little bit nasty. Fair play to Ruben Amorim for stepping up. Fair play to Ruben Amorim for doing the right thing. He's obviously paid a hell of a lot more, an exorbitant amount of money more than his backroom staff. So well done to him for covering it. Some of the backroom staff, according to the article, are actually quite low paid as well. They're not on sort of footballers' money. You know, they're not on 20, 30, 40 grand a week. But for me, this is just a terrible look. And of course, it's been leaked to the media. There's loads of disgruntled members of staff. So I'm not surprised that it's got out. And you would think they would learn. I get the club directly not paying for it. But a man worth 16 billion, I think he 110% should in this example. But I want to get your take. I want to get your views on this now in the comment section below. But I am going to defend the club on a completely different note about another story, okay? It's been reported today that Ruben Amorim, since he arrived at Manchester United, has conducted 491 interviews. And the first thing I thought when I read this is, you cheeky mother. And the reason I said that isn't because he hasn't done a lot of interviews. He's done quite a few sit-down interviews with TNT Sport and Sky Sports. More than I would have liked him to have done, but he's done a lot of them. But 491, this is absolutely ridiculous. It truly, truly is. Because when you start to read it, you start to see that the majority of these interviews are post-match press conferences, pre-match press conferences, television interviews after games, which every single manager in the Premier League, and if you're in Europe, is contracted to do. This is just like the walking stat for Paul Pogba. They're only showing you one piece of the puzzle. They're only showing you a watered-down version of these facts to make it seem obsessive. Everyone's moaning, oh, too many interviews. 491, that is mad. But it's an exaggeration. And it's an exaggeration because you're removing perspective. And I don't expect or care about rivals' reaction to this. Fill your boots. Fill your boots. This is about Man United fans. I think we should complain and condemn about those backroom staff members not having their tickets paid for. Couldn't concur, couldn't agree deeper with you on this. But attacking the club and attacking Ruben Amorim for these interviews, I think is stupid. It is stupid, it is knee-jerk, and it is narrow-minded. I did some maths on this, some basic, quick maths, and I used Ange Postecoglou as an example. So to do this exercise, you've got to pick a manager of I think a top 6 club and one that is in Europe. And I picked Big Ange because they're in the same competition and they're in the final the same as us. So same amount of European games. And when you start to break this down and you start to add this up, read it all thoroughly. My estimation is that Big Ange Postecoglou has done at least 445 of these interviews. At least 445 of these interviews, Big Ange Postecoglou has also done. So suddenly, with perspective, 491 versus 444 for a manager who joined mid-season, thus there were more interviews to begin with, doesn't seem a huge disparity. And the ones I haven't included for Big Ange are all of his sit-down pre-match interviews with Sky Sports, with TNT Sports, that are not press conferences and are not sort of post-match reactions to the game, instant match reactions. We're talking about recorded 2 or 3 days before these. I haven't counted them for Big Ange because I don't actually care to look. They have included contractual interviews that every single manager in the Prem has to do, and every single manager in European competitions have to do. And instead of calling them what they are, one's a press conference, one's an instant reaction to the game, and one is a sit-down interview, they've bundled them all into the same thing. Listen, I don't care if you like Ruben Amorim, protect your fucking football club. I don't care if you despise the owners, protect your football club here. This is one of those moments when you go through all of these, and it's quite simple. It says 25 pre-match press conferences and post-match press conferences. He has to do them. Ange has done the same. All the managers have done the same. It is absolutely... There's the only one that I challenge. It says here, like there's been 10 pre-match club interviews before the Europa League, as an example. That's where they sit down with the TNT Sports. 30 pre-match international interviews for all the rights holders. And even with these sit-down interviews, 21 pre-match TV interviews where it says allocated broadcasters, rights and shareholders. And the 175 you see where it says 175 post-match Premier League interviews? This is so disingenuous. He hasn't done 175 individual interviews per se. Some of that is where you get the one camera on you and you might have 7 or 8 different journalists interview what question after the other. And that counts as You do one interview, but they're counting it as individuals. It is an abomination of a journalistic piece. No perspective on how many interviews other people do. So you think it is ginormous when actually it's slightly higher than your average bear, but not massively, considering he joined mid-season. So there was 4 or 5 interviews he did just because he was announced as the Man United manager, right? Plus, he is the Man United manager. We are one of the biggest stakeholders for these TV companies. And it doesn't matter whether we were top of the league or bottom of the league, they're going to continue to want these interviews. And it's part of the package that's signed up for. There's nothing that can be done. This, for me, is a nothing hit piece that United fans should be pushing back against 1,000%. The other side of it, and I'll end back with the shameful behavior of Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Goddamn pay for those staff members' families to be out there with them. Get that done. Read these articles and get it done tomorrow, because for me, I get not paying for 700 to 1,000 families with the situation the club's in, even though I know you individually could afford it. But the backroom staff, absolutely horrendous. Listen, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you soon. Peace.